The idea of implanting a microchip into your body is no longer science fiction. In the future, after a quick implantation procedure, you could be able to simply point at a vending machine to access your favorite drink. Doctors would be able to read your vital signs while you're at home. By waving your hand, you could unlock your front door or pay for your train tickets. And this is just the beginning. People around the world are already installing RFID chips into their bodies. Why? Microchip implants have evolved from something reserved for the most dedicated biohackers on Reddit to a useful daily tool. Like Elon Musk's Neuralink, microchipping has its roots in the philosophic idea of transhumanism. This theory states that humans will eventually evolve beyond their physical and mental limitations using science and technology. Microchipping could be a stepping stone for this cyborg evolution. Currently, RFID chips can only perform basic functions, so we still have a ways to go. Likewise, there are serious questions about the implants, ranging from long-term toxicity to hacking and privacy. For some, microchipping feels too close to an episode of Black Mirror. But this has not stopped companies from developing commercial microchips, or a growing number of people from implanting them. However, RFID technology is not as new as you might think. But what is an RFID chip? Radio Frequency Identification Technology, or RFID, has been around for decades. RFID luggage tags are used to make sure your bag gets to the right place. RFID ear tags are used to register and track livestock throughout the United States. Every day, pets safely receive RFID implants, just in case they ever get lost. You probably already have an RFID chip on your contactless credit card. RFID implants used for humans are microchips about the size of a grain of rice, encased in a biosafe glass tube. The implant is inserted into the top of your hand, right under the skin. It comfortably sits between your thumb and index finger. Passive RFID chips, like those used for implants, do not have a power source. They rely entirely on the reader as their power source. You can think of them almost like a barcode. In 1998, British scientist Kevin Warwick, also known as Captain Cyborg, became known as the first human to receive an RFID implant. University of Reading researchers monitored Warwick as he walked through the halls while operating tagged doors, heaters, and lights around the building without ever needing to touch them. Nonetheless, the development and adoption of RFID implants have been slow. In the early 2000s, American companies like Verichip tried to create their own healthcare-oriented microchip implants, only to later realize that 90% of Americans were not comfortable with the technology. The broader concern is that chip technology could be used to track people's movements. Before the company's growth was halted, Verichip proposed using the implants to track and monitor migrant workers. It is not hard to imagine that the chips could be abused. RFID chips present a potential security risk too, as it is possible to hack them. And in the long term, there are a lot of questions about toxicity. But there is some good news. A new wave of tech startups is working on safer RFID chips. The tech startup 3 Square Market is developing the next generation of commercial microchip implants. They believe that the benefits of implanting RFID technology into the body far outweigh any potential anxieties about them. These next-generation RFID chips could store important medical information, control automated home appliances, read vital signs, provide a more secure method of logging into smart devices, and even control your car. The possibilities are endless. They could also be used to track your loved ones, like your children or aging parents. The RFID chips offered by companies like Dangerous Things are programmable, giving users control over the code in the implant. And if this sounds like something you would like to try now, you can buy a chip implant kit directly off their website. In tech optimist countries like Sweden, a growing amount of residents are already getting microchips implanted under their skin. The interest of implants is moving beyond just a trend. There are growing communities across the internet that are dedicated to RFID implants, and medical companies are investing resources into perfecting them. The only thing preventing widespread adoption is the public's concerns.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, I just want to simply entitle this lesson, The Hour of Temptation, because that's what's getting ready to come upon the whole earth, because before this destruction can take place, this particular prophecy has to take place, the prophecy being, the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast, So I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures, Lord willing. This lesson is edifying and straight to the point. So, the clip I featured, just throw it out there real quick. That video is used for fair use purposes, strictly for educational purposes, But as you can see in that video, they pretty much showed you what the mark of the beast was, and is that rice grain sized device that is going to go on people's hands and foreheads. And they even showed you, that device being implanted into people's hands. That's what the mark of the beast is, that small device, the RFID micro CHIP, that is what the mark of the beast is, and that is what Esau Edom is trying to push upon this whole world. That's ultimately what he wants to do. Excuse me, it's like he wants to chip everyone because he has that God complex, and that's his way of pretty much watching over and controlling everyone by way of that device. So I'm going to start in the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 16. And it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and this number is 666. And yes, that device right there is the mark of the beast. It's not sin. The mark of the beast is not sin. It's not an embargo. It's not sleeping with white women. It's not anything other than that device. If anyone says the mark of the beast is anything other than that, they're wrong, and you should flee from that person because they're misleading you. Like you have leaders of, other camps that are pretty much misleading their congregation, telling them that it's this. They'll make mention of it, but they won't say that that's what it is. They'll tell you it's something else. But, the mark of the beast is indeed, that device. And the people that are pretty much slated for destruction are going to receive that device, So just real quick, I'm going to jump to the book of Isaiah chapter 36 and verse 6, and it says, "Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him." And yes, a lot of people are going to trust in Esau Edom. They're going to trust in this man's system, which is ultimately going to fail, because again, America is going to be destroyed by way of those ICBM missiles. But again, this prophecy has to come to pass. A good majority of people have to receive this man's mark, in order for that destruction to come. And then also, you do have a remnant that is going to resist this man's mark. Only the elect of the nation of Israel is going to resist this man's mark, that device. So I'm going to jump back to Revelation chapter 13. And I'm going to go to Slakia. And I'm going to go to verse 15. And it says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed." So yes, ultimately, those that don't receive the mark of the beast, he's going to want to, take them out. You do have certain members of the elect that will be beheaded, for resisting this man's mark, but, that will be their testimony, and when our Lord Yahweh Shai returns to deliver the elect, they'll be risen up first, So, slug you. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 10. And it says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." So yes, everyone is going to be tested, and that's pretty much going to be that final test on whether or not, we're going to trust in the Lord or trust in Esau, Edom. The elect are going to trust in the Lord, and everyone else is going to trust in Esau, and they're going to receive his mark, and ultimately be destroyed, But also what they're not telling you is once you receive this mark, that this particular thing is going to happen, because in that clip, you pretty much saw, one person that got that device implanted, their hand was swollen, So I'm going to go to the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 2. And it says, "And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had received the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image." So yes, ultimately, those that receive that mark, they're going to receive a grievous sore. That grievous sore being, ultimately cancer, because that device is going to be emitting radiation, and you weren't supposed to, going back to the book of Leviticus, weren't supposed to make, markings or cuttings in your flesh, but ultimately you aren't supposed to get any type of technology implanted in your body, because ultimately your body is going to reject it, and that's what's going to happen to these people, that receive this man's mark, So I'm going to come to the book of Revelation, chapter 14. And I'm going to start at verse 9. And as you can see, the headline reads, "Doom for worshippers of the beast." So those that receive this man's mark of the beast, they're doomed. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 9. "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the image," Slakia, "if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image. And whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." So yes, those that receive the mark of the beast, they're going to be, ultimately cast into the lake of fire, which is going to be America, burning, you know. And how is America going to be on fire? By way of those ICBM missiles, that are going to hit this place. And this entire land is going to be engulfed in flames from New York to California to the othermost, northern state to the furthest southern state. This entire land is going to be on fire. And that's going to be the judgment of those that receive the mark of the beast. They're going to be burned alive in the lake of fire. And I'm going to end it on this. This is the book of Revelation, chapter. No, I'm not going to end it yet. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19, and verse 20. And it says, "And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles from him, with which he deceived them, which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped this image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone." So yes, again, that's going to be the judgment, for receiving that device, being cast into that lake of fire, which is going to be America being burned alive. Which is America being burned, but those that get it are going to be burned alive, So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 20, and verse 14, and it says, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death." So yes, ultimately that first death was, when the Lord flooded the entire earth with water, and that was the first death. That was the first time the Heavenly Father visited, the world by a mass judgment, and he's going to do it again, but except this time by fire. But, the entire earth won't be destroyed. The entire earth won't be on fire. The various parts of the world, will get hit with these missiles, but ultimately, only America is going to be left completely desolate. Any other country or land that gets hit with missiles, will be built back up, In verse 15, it says, "Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." So ultimately, Esau, Edom, the heathen nations, and, the 2/3 of Israel, will be cast into the lake of fire, because, the 2/3, they're not written in the book of life, because mainly, the book of life is for Israel, only the nation of Israel, but the 2/3 aren't in it, they'll be burned, those that survive Jacob's trouble, those that receive his mark, they were pretty much preserved for that. They'll be killed on this side, and they'll be reborn in the kingdom. But hopefully this is just a reminder to not receive this man's mark. And I'm speaking to myself as well, because this is a very serious thing. This is a very serious judgment that the Lord is about to bring upon this earth, because this is how terrible that fire is going to be, Then I'm going to end it on this. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, and verse 12. And it says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." And yes, and that's pretty much describing, someone being burned alive, because that's how hot that fire is going to be from those thermonuclear missiles, that is pretty much going to melt people while they're standing on their feet. The best example is, the scene from Terminator 2, when Sarah Connor had the dream, that pretty much America was being destroyed by missiles and she was on the fence. Now it showed, pretty much that wave of fire coming and hitting her. And ultimately her fire, it's like her flesh was, it's showing it being blown off, but ultimately it's going to be melted. Even their bones are going to be melted. Those missiles are going to burn at 100 million degrees Celsius. They're going to burn hotter than the sun. So again, Lord willing, the Lord keeps us, from the hour of temptation. Going back to Revelation 3 and 10, So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I say Shalom.